That's who the Greeks called them that because of the purple color that they used to produce. So they call them Phoenician. And so now we have the Phoenician, but they really what we're talking about is Canaanite. But the Canaanites are not the originator of any civilization. The civilization, like I said before, the count. In order to do what I was talking about before, you have to have a stable society, control your food. You have to have mathematics. You have to be able to triangulate, geometry. So you have to have all these sciences already up under your belt in order for you to make these megaliths and have these circles that's going down with the three things. And if you do look at this, right, you got three things right here, one beside, and one is off, right? And so you see that and I'm sorry, yeah, like this. You have three together. Well, I can't do it with my finger, but anyway, right. You have three together, and one of them is Ross peeling slightly off the thing. You can see that. I mean, so mathematics and all this stuff that we're talking about, science, engineering, and all that stuff. This stuff starts in Africa, going all the way back to what we was talking about before.
Okay, let me ask you this, man. Now, this right here, this question seems to rock the Moors when we say the Moors was involved in the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. How much truth does that hold?
Oh, that's actually very true. They actually made a treaty. United States first treaty was with the Moors in Morocco.
Now, see, brother Lord
yeah.
How come? Let me ask this, brother. What part of history are you missing when we say that the Moors was involved in a transatlantic slave trade? Didn't the Moors make a treaty?
Listen.
Yes or no? Did the Moors make a treaty?
Yes, they did.
Okay, why did they make the treaty?
Treaty of friendship.
Okay, first of all, when you're saying that the Moors were involved,
the Moors of history. I ain't talking
historical
about.
Moors.
I'm not talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali Moors.
I'm gonna put this to rest one time.
All right.
And I hope the people hear it. And I hope you don't have to ask the question, because you know you like asking them same questions over. But anyway, when the slave trade was happening, the Christians went and made pacts with non-Islamic tribes like the Dahomey, who sold 3.1 million of our people into slavery. This is a historical fact. If you're saying that the Moors, right, were the ones involved in the slave trade, produce your documentation. The Prime Minister of Benin came in 2006 and apologized to the quote-unquote African Americans for their country's role in the slave trade, where they sold 3.1 million of our people. When you do the history of the Muslims of South Carolina, the Moors of South Carolina, the names escape me right now, so please excuse me, you'll see that they'll tell you that they were captured by their brothers for the Europeans. There's a book by Mervyn Hiskett named The Islamic Development in Western Africa. I believe I said that right. And he said that the slave trade was by no means a Muslim affair, but that it was largely conducted by non-Islamic coastal Africans. The story of Benin proves this, or the Dahomey, who sold and captured 3.1 million of our people. The only thing you have to do is look at all of the slave movies. Most of them are speaking the Arabic tongue, and they're Muslims, and they're praying to Allah. So that claim that the Moors, maybe there may have been a few hands involved, because many hands were involved, because the Moors were the first ones to enslave the Europeans. But to say that the Moors was involved in the slave trade when it was the Moors of Islam that was getting captured and brought over here, I mean, that's moot, and you would have to show and prove that.
All right, brother.
I'll get you sorted.
Yeah. Well, all right. Like I said, it's the friendship. It's the Treaty of Friendship, 1779, with the with the Morocco. And that treaty was with Morocco because at that time the Europeans had put an embargo around Morocco because it's called the Wars of the Barbary Coast. And so what they was talking about, because the Barbary Coast, they was enslaving the Moors, the so-called Moors, the people from Morocco, let me put it that way, was going out and raiding Europeans for slaves. On the slave market, the Europeans were worth more than Africans. Also, the Ethiopians was less. Well, not less, but a little less than Europeans. I forget the figures, but I can get the figures for you. For them, and then you have the blacks, and then the people who was eunuchs got more money, and the people who had circumcised, the women who had been circumcised, got more money. But a regular black didn't get as much money as the Ethiopians, and of course the Europeans was higher. Now, I'm saying that to say this: there's no evidence of the slave trade in Africa prior to invasion, including Egypt. Never mind what the Hebrews said about being enslaved in Egypt. They were never enslaved. Second, is that when we're talking about bondage and chattel slavery, nobody has seen that other thing in the world as they see it in the Europeans and the Muslim world. The Muslims in Arabia was, at the time of the Prophet, was dealing with slaves.
Oh, were they black? Was they black Muslims?
No, there was a regular Muslim, right? Those Muslims went into Egypt in 639, finished conquering in 639, where they induced the black folks in Egypt to slavery, and at the same time they went down into Nubia. The first time they went down in Nubia, they got slaughtered. The second time they went into Nubia, they had what they called the Baghdad Treaty. The Baghdad Treaty demanded slaves from the Nubians to come up there with other things that they was going to give the Nubians. Actually, not the demanding, but they made a truce, and part of the thing was to get slaves from Nubia, what we call today Nubia.
Can you say the source for that?
I just told them the Baghdad Treaty.
No.
I got the treaty. I actually got the treaty.
No,
I got the treaty. On the point that I'm making now.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Peace and Friendship Treaty. My bad.
No.
Okay.
No. But I actually got that treaty.
Okay.
And I know what that treaty says.
Okay.
All right. And that treaty demands a session of treaty, and they accused the king in Nubia for not facilitating the treaty because they would send them blind crippled people, crippled people and old people for the fulfillment of the treaty. And the people who would escape and go down into Nubia, right, that was enslaved in Egypt. Yeah, that was enslaved in Egypt, right?
Right.
That got away with it, right? Now, what I'm saying is in fact, is that the Nubians no way upheld the treaty. And the guy was complaining to them time where Africa was. Africa don't have a word for slavery. There's no word for jail. There's no word for old people's home. There's no word for all these things. All of these things are Asiatic and European inventions.
All right, Brother Abba, you have some information you want to show us?
Yes, this is the name Canaan, which occurs in the hieroglyphs as Kenan on the Merneptah stele in the 13th century BC. I challenge...
Merneptah.
Yeah, Merneptah, okay, my bad. I challenge all those who study Medu Neter, Afro Stally, the light-skinned black French guy who admitted he was doing nothing for my people over here, to show and prove that this glyph does not represent Canaan in the hieroglyphs. See, one thing that I do is when I make my claims, I back them up. Like in that same presentation, I have the real accounts of what happened and why the treaty was signed with the Europeans. The Europeans went thinking that they was going to sign a treaty, but it was not a treaty. It was a mandate. And when they went back to renew the treaty in 1836, their diplomatic liaison, whose name was Thomas Barclay, said the treaty was not drawn up in the form that I expected, so I excused myself from the negotiations. They hired a man named Dr. Snook Hogranji from Leighton to come in. He was a specialist in Arabic to translate the treaty and its meaning. They came to find out that the treaty wasn't a treaty, that it was a land grant, a mandate for them to be here on this land for 50 years. and the Europeans got up in arms about this. This was one of the reasons why they wouldn't let the slaves learn how to read. This was one of the main reasons. So when they say that the treaty, right, is what facilitated the slave trade, that's an absolute lie, because anybody can just simply go to www.avalon.yale.law.edu.com, look up Hunter Miller's notes, and it breaks down everything, the whole correspondence behind the treaty. The Moroccan liaison, diplomatic liaison, which was simply called Mr. Finish, said that he could not deface the original treaty, and it does not bear the form of a treaty, it bears the form of a land grant. Noble Drew Ali said that the Europeans went to the Moroccan government and asked for a mandate to come over here and develop this land, and they were given a 50-year mandate to do so. I have historical facts to back up my claims. That's the difference between me and everybody else. I can show and prove, and I give you the site so that you can go to, or you could just punch in the Barbary Treaties and on the Avalon site, and that information should come up. And you know, that was basically it. You know, I got
look, I got actually this don't say Canaan though.
It don't say Canaan?
No, don't say Canaan.
All right, well.
That don't say Canaan.
See, my brother, he studied the Metanetta.
No doubt.
Yeah, that doesn't say Canaan. So what the scribe did is use what they generally do. Is like I say, when I say Kemet, right? Underneath that they say what? Egypt.
Right.
But it doesn't say Egypt.
So this don't say Moab, because this is the This is what was translated as Moab from the ancient, from the scripts. All of these come off of either the Mernatau still.
This is 3M. This is U. The chick is U. No, it doesn't say Moab.
Okay.
That's what people do. See what I'm saying? You know what? You know what this is? What people do?
Wait a minute.
In the Metanetta. No,
I'm gonna take them clips that he got, and like when you put this up, and I'm gonna go back and break those down.
Yeah. Now, what we have is what people do is they translate it into English.
Hammett.
And
that's not Hammett neither. I want you.
No, it's
not Hammett?
no.
Thank you.
Wait, no, wait a minute, don't put words in my mouth.
I'm
let me put my own words.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
No, that's M-T U. That's a U chick. That's CB U right here.
See, you should be listening, so you
know what I'm saying,
brother.
This right here is foreign land. This right here means foreign land. That's the U chick. T, M. This right here. I forgot what this. Forgot what that is. But anyway, no, it doesn't say that.
Sure. Okay, one more. Man, where is it?
Who's doing this in translation?
Where is it?
Who's doing this transliteration?
I mean,
who's doing
that's
this?
him. These come off of the topography list of, I believe it's Thutmose the Third.
No. I said who's doing the translation?
Yeah, I believe it came from Gardner, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I believe.
No, what I'm saying.
The listing that I got.
What I'm saying before, what I stand by. It's what people generally do. They say KMT and Kemet. Underneath it, they say Egypt.
Right.
But it doesn't say Egypt.
Right.
They say Kemet, right? So what people do is they bring it into modern day vernacular or what it is that the thing is saying. The thing don't actually say that exactly the way they are saying it. See, what we're doing is we're actually abusing the language because they make it into modern day things. And so when people usually, when
they try to turn it into English,
and they turn it into English, and they're saying it in English words, like we say, like I said before, Egypt. Or you can do a mother thing like the Netcher or Netaru or the Nasu. You know, you say king, right? Nasu. Now Nasu don't mean king, but they take it and they do that. You see that on all translations, transliteration. You see that all the time. But the word itself don't say that.
I'm no linguist. The only thing that I do is I get the information and I sit down and I cross-reference everything. You know, I go by the only translations that I can use, which comes from Gardner. I know for a fact that the Moors and Champollion, the Moors translated the hieroglyphs 1,000 years before Champollion, but we don't have that information available, so I have to use what I can. So, you know.
You said the Moors translated the hieroglyphs?
Yes, definitely. The Moors translated the hieroglyphs 1,000 years before Champollion. The one more, I can't call his name offhand right now, excuse me, but he wrote all of the definitions in the book. And that well, you know, the Pale Arabs have it now, and of course, all the history got passed on to the lower or lesser races, if you want to use that term. But